Hello, you beautiful souls. I'm so grateful you're here. Welcome to Harness the Shift podcast. It's the second season, and I'm Jay, and I'm your host and your navigator. Waking up isn't pretty, it's so messy, it's intense, and often very uncomfortable. Here on this podcast, we explore our energetic blueprint, our human design, to understand ourselves, how we can interact with others, and how to move through life with clarity. This is a time of letting go of the old and stepping into the new. If we want change, we have to be the change. Mirror, mirror. And you got to show up as the person you're meant to be. We talk about flow, trust, transformation, and what it really takes to step fully into your power. So let's harness this shift. Let's move. Let's flow. All right, now let's go. Hello, you beautiful souls. So I'm back, and this is season 2, and we're gonna get into it straight out the gate, coming in hot. The last 2 months have been absolutely chaotic for me. Without going into great detail, I faced some major challenges. The last year, I have had people come against me and accuse me of things in my career as a clinical researcher. So I have not been in that field for almost a year. It's been 11 months. And so it's just been a really hard time for me. I've been in survival mode, and I don't want to get into talking about stories because it really doesn't matter to give blow by blow details. I've just had to be pivoting every time I turn. So I went to Florida, I came back to Oregon. So it's just time for me to get out here and show up and be my true authentic self. So with that, the love and the light, it's not all love and light. So I want to talk about that because we talk about we're on our spiritual awakening and it's a great time to be alive and all of these things. And that's true. We are experiencing a time where the consciousness of humanity is increasing on a daily basis. We are waking up from the illusion. We have folks that have been on their spiritual journey for a long time. We have folks that are, in the spiritual community that are, oh, it's all love and light. And what I want to talk about in specific is the bypassing, because this is something that I've engaged in and that I am now stepping out of, because although we are ascending, those that are doing the work, the inner work to evolve their soul are ascending. That doesn't mean that we're not still here in the physical, and all of this chaos and disruption of the system is going on around us. And when I say spiritual bypassing, what I'm speaking to is that spiritual bypassing, it's not peace. It's an illusion of peace. By ignoring the things that are going on, the atrocities and everything that's going on in this physical realm, and saying, oh, I'm just going to go over here and I'm going to live my best life and I'm not going to interact with anyone who's in over here, or you feel more elevated and you're staying disengaged from reality, or you have this false sense of moral superiority without responsibility. And hey, I'm guilty of it too, because that's part of the journey. But there's a point where we have to step out of that and realize that there is no escaping this. The only way to escape what is going on earth is to die. Okay, and we're all going to die at some time out of this physical meat suit. But while we're here, the whole point of going through the journey is to evolve, right? And as we evolve, we may outgrow people in the process. And it is about frequency. It is about energy. But at the same time, it's also about, let's keep it real, okay? It's not an easy process. If you're really doing the work and you're really going into these itty bitty crevices where the darkness is, because we all have that. We've all been in duality. We live in duality where there is a darkness, there is a light, there is the devil on the shoulder, there is the angel on the shoulder, and making decisions based on that, right? And I know people don't want to get caught up in politics and, oh, politics, that's an illusion. Well, yeah, it is an illusion because most of them are working for the same purpose, hence why there's so much corruption in the systems, not just here in America, but everywhere. There is disruption going on with that. I truly believe that, and I'm not going to get into it. I've talked about it in the past, that I believe that there's something going on. And I think we pretty much, that's been confirmed with what has happened recently. But when we say, oh, I don't want to talk about that, or that's, it's not important. It is important because things are being revealed. The truth is being revealed. And because you, whoever out there, want to ignore it, doesn't change the fact that it's going on and that there is a reality of that going on. And that some of us can provide some perspective and insight into what's going on and not attach emotion to it. That we can actually sit back, give a perspective that's based on being in control of our thoughts, feelings, and emotions, and giving a perspective that's based on pattern recognition and connecting the dots and all of that, right? All of these amazing gifts that we're given by our creator when we really step in to do the work. But what I find to be extremely challenging at this time is, especially when people are going through it, right? When people are stepping through and they're really doing the work, and the comparison that's going on. My experience isn't any better, or it may be similar. It's based on my perspective. Just like anyone else's experience, it's their perspective, their life. We can't sit around and compare ourselves, because that's also a part of the bypassing. It's avoidance, and it's dressed up as this. It's not being self-aware. And we want to talk about, Jesus, how he didn't bypass the corruption. He confronted it. And Buddha didn't transcend suffering by ignoring it. He went through it. And I guess that's what I'm trying to say, is that going through it, going through the fire and being refined by it. And there's no benefit that comes from the bypassing, meaning not being self-accountable, not holding others accountable. There's no good that comes from that, because it's not, it's just playing along with the illusion. And the embodiment of this whole journey, the embodiment of all of these principles of compassion, love, understanding, being empathetic, all of these things are about embodiment and alignment. And this is where the human design comes in. So I'm pivoting in my navigating my strategy, because I don't like to label myself as a coach, because I'm not here to coach anyone. I'm here to navigate. We know the answers. All you have to do is remember. And so when you have somebody to navigate you through that process, then it becomes a little bit, I think I wish I would have had more navigation during my time. But I think that you go through these things these situations in order to really understand, okay, we don't have to go down that path, because there's some people that just don't take the long road. There are people that do take the long road, and when they take the long road, they learn so that they could tell other people and share with other people, you know what, hey, you could take the long road. I've been that way. I mean, it's kind of cool, but it was a little rocky. There was, I kind of, the analogy of hiking, it was a harder trail than to go XYZ trail or whatever it may be, and shorten the window a little bit. Not everybody wants to take the long road. Some people, they want to just kind of get there. So that's where I come in. And when you embody it, you can hold love and truth at the same time without collapsing. You can tell folks about themselves in a loving way, because the truth, when you don't speak the truth, you're not serving anyone. And I'm just looking at my notes here, but I've had a wild day, folks. I know that I'm not responsible for anybody's bullshit. Okay. I'm not responsible for anybody's baggage. I'm only responsible for carrying my baggage. And it took me a long time to figure that out, because I am an empath and I want to help everybody, but I can't help everybody. People have to help themselves along the way. And then you check in with people. Let me help you navigate. It's kind of, I was in the Air Force. I flew on the C-130. Okay, we're going to give you a little analogy here of the C-130. And the C-130 had a navigator. So the pilot was, you're piloting your life, but you got a navigator that's right here that, hey, where are we going today? Hey, what are we doing? You have folks that are walking amongst, that are, I call them, angels, earthly angels, that kind of help you along the path. But in this journey, when you can dial into the synchronicities and the signs along the way, you understand that you're not by yourself, that there is a spirit that is guiding you if you allow it. And there has been times that I've fought against the current. And so I'll take you back to a time when I was in Mexico. And this was when I had just got out of the Air Force, and I did something really stupid. I made a dumb decision, and I went out into the water at night and got caught up in an undertow. And I kept fighting it and fighting it and fighting it until I heard my intuition say, stop it. Go with the flow. Lay on your back. And as I laid on my back, I just kept hearing, just breathe, just breathe. And so that's what I did. And I just thought, for a split second, I'm like, God, am I going to die? And it was like, you have nothing to fear. And I just laid on my back, and I was watching the stars, and I could feel myself floating. And I didn't know if I was dying. I was fearless at that moment. It was like a surrender. And I don't really share this story, but it came to me today during this conversation that I had with someone who's going to come on the podcast. He has an amazing story and an amazing journey that he's been on. And that's what this is about. It's about harnessing this shift from forgetting to remembering. That's what it's all about. We were programmed, conditioned to forget, and now we're remembering. And so how much do you want to remember? And so, I can only speak for myself. I want to remember it all. And let me tell you, there have been times when I'm like, I just want to die. I don't want to be here, but I don't want to die, or I do want to die. Just vacillating through this, because it's such a hard thing to understand that we really don't have a lot of control of the things that are going on in the external. But when we go within, we can really dial into the spirit and just kind of surrender to the process and understand that we'll be guided back to shore. We'll be guided to the right people. We may be stuck in the muck a little bit, and we can't feel the ground, and we can't move, but the more that we keep going, we feel like we're coming out. Okay, now I'm coming out a little bit and I can put my feet down and I can move my feet at least. And so anyway, back to the because it all goes together. Just trust me on this. So I'm guided back and I'm floating back to shore and I put my feet in. I'm stuck in the sand and I'm trying to get out. And I get out and I make it to shore and I say to my friend, "Did you hear me screaming?" And then I thought, I don't know what just happened. Like I remember myself screaming and panicking, but was I? Or was that like a dream at that time? Um, but I made it back to shore. And today I realized after this conversation that I am being guided back to shore. And it's because I've said, enough. I can't do this by myself. Send me who I need to help me get back to shore and help me tighten it up a little bit where I can focus. So I'm focusing. I'm going to be recording the podcast and I'm going to focus on the podcast and we're going to focus on human design and we're going to get into that. But the moment that I stopped trying to control the process and the outcome, the path becomes visible. And so I don't need to justify anything. I've walked through this spiritual space that I avoided truth. And I know I was avoiding the truth and it felt wrong. And it's like, no, I'm not doing this anymore. I'm not going to do this. I'm not for everybody. I speak the truth. I've gotten better at delivering it from a place of love, but I am not sugarcoating anything anymore. I'm not shrinking for anyone. Spiritual bypassing in this spiritual journey delays embodiment. It delays alignment. And human design, what I think is so amazing about human design is it actually helps you understand why you are the way that you are and that it's your blueprint. And then you can accept that. And when you're aware of that, then you're like, oh, you know what? I'm doing this or I'm doing that. And I need to be a little bit aware. It cues you to your own self-awareness that, okay, I'm being triggered right now. Why am I? And sitting with that, because I think when we take our triggers and we project them onto someone else and we don't fully understand or we're not aware of that, we don't understand that that can cause harm. It can really cause harm. And we're not expected to be polished, like we're perfect. That's an illusion. But we are here to be honest. And so with human design, I'm a generator and I've lived years overriding what I felt in my body, right? Like my authority comes in from the sacral. So when I am hit with energy there, that's where it's activated. And I have to make decisions about what I'm feeling energetically within my body and not from my head. And sometimes I get those two out of whack. And I found myself in a situation where I was burned out, and that wasn't failure, it was feedback. And it has been feedback that you're not living authentically. Like you're what you're saying, you and your spirit is saying, okay, wait a minute. Yeah, you're saying this and that's good and all of that, but stop sugarcoating it, right? I mean, we can say things that from a loving space, but we don't need to dial it down. Like, And I understand that there's folks out here that are sensitive and get offended by everything, and I get that. And those aren't the people that I'm going to be working with. That's for somebody else. Like the folks that I'm going to be working with are the folks that realize this. They realize they've been spiritually bypassing, oh, I'm love and light, knowing all well and knowing all along that it's not love and light, that this journey, it really does suck at times for some folks. Well, really all of us, because we're shedding that conditioning, that whatever, programming, whatever you want to call it. And so human design doesn't tell me who to be. It tells me how to listen to my inner knowing. And so, and so in this journey, my body knew before my mind did. And I just was like, what's going on here? And so the human design piece of it actually helps you really just ground and understand why you are the way that you are. And when you know the way that you are, you can interact with other folks. So what's cool is that, having a neuroscience background, going through all the psychology and all of that, which I've also questioned along the way, and partially the reason I never got into counseling, because I didn't want to focus on people's problems. I know what the problem is. And I want to, and I think I instinctively knew that. And I don't want to focus on problems. I want to focus on the solution. And I think that, well, excuse me, I know that human design is a great piece because it's not really talking about your personality. It's not mental at all. It's that energetic blueprint. It's your soul. It is who you are. It's based on when you were born, what time you were born, where you were born on this earth, and gives you some insight on how to understand yourself and how you can interact with other folks that are different than you, right? And so I think it's such an amazing tool, and it's coming to the forefront over the last couple of years. And so I like to focus on it because, it's in line with transpersonal psychology and the whole spiritual, soul-based integration of our mind and our nervous system and all of this. And it's the most fascinating. It's so fascinating. And I'm like, yes, this is the jam. So now it's me stepping in. So I am now launching my coaching business, and I'm taking on clients that are willing to say, yes, I am spiritually bypassing. And yes, I'm tired of it because it's not the truth. And you know what? Let's get into it. So, we're not here to save anyone. We're here to save ourselves. We're not here to soften the truth. We're not here to be palatable. It doesn't serve any of us. Boundaries are that's what it's about. We've been boundaryless. And when we can establish boundaries, then it serves everybody. It serves the greater good, because this life is about remembering. Surrender is intelligence, and embodiment is the work. And that's what we're here for. We're not here to live our best life. Sure, yeah, we can have a good time and all of this, but at the end of the day, like, we're here to fulfill a purpose. And so I know there's a community out there of people that are going through the same thing that I'm going through and maybe can't put their finger on it. And I think when we go through these things, we hold ourselves back. We hold ourselves back from what our purpose is. And I know I'm not for everybody, and that's perfectly fine. So it's not just about waking up out of this illusion. It's about staying awake, excuse me, knowing that the powers that be have created this illusion matrix of, oh, we're free, but we're really not free if you dig into it, and understanding who you are and remembering from a soul level who you are, and that's what matters. But there's also a piece that in the physical that we have to do in order to get there. Everybody has their purpose in this time to help us through things. You know, this is why people are focusing on what it is that they do, so that people that need that can go to those people. So, and so I'm stepping in. So I'm going to be doing the podcast 2 to 3 times a week. I really want to build this community. So if you're listening to this and you resonate with us, please share this with your friends that you know that would benefit from this information. And, you know, there's wisdom to be shared, and I can't do it alone. And so I know that there's folks out there that have so many amazing experiences that they've gone through in this time. So if you're interested in coming on and sharing your story, I would love to have you on. I'd be honored to have you on. I have had an overwhelming amount of folks that have, I put some posts on these like podcast guest groups on Facebook, and I've had an overwhelming response of folks that want to share their experience. And I think when we just put ourselves out there and we like just vibe with it and flow with it, that the spirit puts us in touch with those folks that are meant to be there during this journey. And you know, as one chapter closes, another chapter opens, and I'm starting to see that. I'm starting to see like the patterns coming together, and I'm just like, oh, yes. And it's hard. It's hard because the mind wants to tell you all kinds of things, and it wants to talk you out of things, and that's where we have to be in control of it. And the mind wants you to bypass. The mind doesn't want you to keep going. And we have to understand that conditioning, that programming, sometimes it's a cue for us to say, okay, wait a minute. I need to be open. I need to be open to the possibilities. I need to be open to any and all information. Because let's be real, everything has been corrupted. Everything. Everything. We've been lied to about everything. That's the truth. That's the reality. And if that upsets folks, well, this is what I'm talking about, right? Oh, I don't want to know. I don't want to know what's going on there. If people don't want to know, don't tell them. Keep it moving. Like, I think that I tried to like wake everybody up and tell my family all this, and you know, in a sense, it was turned around on me. Like I'm the nutcase, and I'm cuckoo for Cocoa Puffs, and well, it's basically the furthest from the truth. I'm the sanest I have been in my entire life. I am the most clearest right now than I have been in my entire life. So I'm not worried about all that external stuff, and neither should you. Neither should you. If you know, if people don't understand, then they just don't understand because they're not doing it. So They're not doing the work. But if you are doing the work, keep doing it. Dig deep, because the more that you can remember, the closer you get to your, what your purpose really truly is. And get out here and share share what you're going through. So just let me just give a clear signal here so that we're on the same page. So this podcast is for people that are already stepping out of the illusion, and they're questioning the spiritual bypassing. I'm doing this, I'm doing that, but I feel like, what are you talking about? That it's it's an illusion, but at the same time, we're in it. And so you're questioning that, like, wait a minute. And that you're willing to sit with the discomfort of that, because it's not comfortable. Evolution is not comfortable at all. And if you're doing it right, things are going to start to fall away. People are not going to understand what you're doing. And the only person that you need to be loyal to is yourself. Because when you bypass yourself or you shrink yourself, like, you're keeping yourself from doing what the Creator sent you here to do. So I'm not a coddler. I never really have been. Like father, like daughter. I tell it like it is. I've gotten better over the years with my delivery, but and not everybody likes that. Not everybody likes to be told or called out about their shit. Sometimes I don't like it. It happened to me today, and I was like, wow, the way it was delivered, I was like, damn, you know what? You're right. I keep looping in this story. I keep looping in the story of what's gone on. And look, the past is the past. There ain't shit I can do about it. I'm not going to sit around and be like, ooh, boo-hoo. But I will say, so I told you about that I was accused of fraud. Later to find out that they went back, remonitored everything, and found no errors, by the way. But still, my name went through the mud. And I found out yesterday that the manager lost her job because this is what she was doing. She was causing chaos just to cause chaos, because obviously she has something within herself that she needs to heal. Things were not, over the last 6 years, things have been going on that are not really part of the procedure, right? It's not within the regs. You're going outside of what the norm is. And when you know this and you call it out, it's like you're the bad person. You're made to be the bad person, or you're difficult, or you're this, or you're that. And that's where it comes in, that some people just don't want the truth, and those aren't my people. So, but the karma thing is a real thing, folks. So what you put out into the universe will come back to you. So we do need to put out love into the universe, and we do need to hold the folks that we love accountable, as they should hold us accountable. And not here to save anyone, not here to soften anything. And so that's kind of where I'm at. And I dabbled a little bit, like just a smidge, into the whole human design piece. So, but I just wanted to kind of get some things off my chest with that, and just be very clear that if you're willing to do this work, it can be so transformative. I cannot say that enough. If you're willing to just really be refined and really dig, you can really go to the next level. And I don't know, I feel like the shift is happening within my life right now. And so I want to dedicate this podcast to the folks that have really been there for me over the last year. I cannot tell you, and you know who you are. I cannot tell you how much you mean to me and how much your compassion and your grace during this time means to me. So thank you from the bottom of my heart. I do appreciate you, and you know who you are. So life can be amazing and challenging and heartbreaking all at the same time. And the last year, I'd be lying if I didn't say it had me up against the ropes. It did. But I'm coming back to shore, motherfuckers. So buckle up. So, and if you're offended by my potty mouth, I don't know what to tell you. I mean, it is what it is. Sometimes there are folks that have rough goes. So if they want to drop an F-bomb every now and again, I'm like, do what you gotta do. So with that, stay tuned, and I'm working on getting things set up. So, but if you're interested in the human design piece of it, and investing in yourself, because that's really what it is. You're investing in yourself. You're investing in your growth. When you seek a coach, you're investing in yourself. So whether that's with me or any of the other coaches out there, invest in yourself and step in and it's worth it. I can say it. I've been up against the ropes, and here I am sitting here like I'm sitting. I'm staying with a friend, and I'm grateful. And I look back and I'm like, damn, I had to make some split in real time decisions, and I honor myself. I honor myself that I've done the best that I can. So, and with that, I don't need anyone else to honor me, because I'm honoring myself, and I know that the spirit is as well. So until next time, harness the shift, step in, and we'll talk soon. Take care. Well, that's a wrap. So I just want to say thank you so much for tuning in today. I hope that you take the information, the wisdom that was shared here today, extrapolate whatever data, information you need, integrate it into your own life, and let it guide your evolution. Change is growth, growth is power, and your journey is yours. So step into it fully and understand that you are supported, and make sure that you follow Rooted Light Collective and retreats, as well as Rooted Light Collective with Jay. This is a community that I'm building of like-minded souls that are doing the work, that sometimes will get caught up in this reality that we live and get a little overwhelmed. And you'll have a sanctuary that you can come to in the form of retreats. This is my vision. I'm not going to share too much of it because I don't want to spoil it or any of that, but look for that in the future, and understand that I am rooting for all of you, and your creator is as well. And understand that there is nothing to fear. And until next time, harness the shift.